going to talk about radial arm saw safety and how to use it. Radial arm saws are pretty versatile. They were made to be adjusted so you can chop at different angles and stuff. Ours, I've actually put duct tape over those adjustments because I don't want those moved. I want everything to be 90 degrees, so that's all we can cut on this machine. Basically, the on-off button is here. It can get a little confusing with the dust collector on and off button, so just be aware of that. The blast gate is right here, so make sure this is open when you're running it. And basically, you can pull this out with your right arm and stand to the left side of the machine, or you can pull it out with your left arm and stand to the right of the machine. One thing that you never want to do, and it may seem obvious, but I have to tell you this, you never cross arms. Also, want to make you aware of this too, that there's not a whole lot of space between the motor and right here. So if the board is here, don't ever put your hand holding the board underneath the motor because it could pinch your hand. So you always keep your hand outside of where the motor is. Also, you want to make sure that the board has been jointed, that there's a flat face which goes down and a straight edge which goes up against the fence. Anytime the board has a hump in it or a bow in it and you try to cut, you can get a pinch. Also, the board needs to be up against the fence when you cut. If you were to have the board out further, as the saw blade contacts the board, it will throw this board up against the fence here. And that can kind of scare you, can also cause some damage. So be aware of that. Now this machine, it's got a pretty long arm here. So you can actually pull it way out beyond the table. So be aware of that. Only pull it out far enough to cut your material and then push it back in all the way. So I'm going to demonstrate how to cut a board, and I'll hold it here and I'll cut this way. I'll show you how to do that. It's really pretty simple. You do have to control the motor as it's coming out. If you try to pull it, it can get jammed up in the board. So I'm actually keeping it from coming out at me too fast, and I'm standing off to one side. You never want to stand in line with the motor because it can catch into the wood and try to throw you back. So you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to make sure this blast gate's open. I'll turn the dust collector on. A few seconds for that blade to stop rotating. I want to wait for that to stop rotating before I reach into this cutting envelope to grab my scrap and throw it away. Now you could take your board and kick it out like that to get out of your way if you want to move a little faster. So I'm going to demonstrate the other way to cut with my left hand just to show you the convenience. So I'm going to pull with my left hand this time. Turn the dust collector on. Now instead of reaching in there, I'm just going to take my board and push it out, and now I can throw away the scrap. Now another nice thing about this machine is you can set up stops and make repeated cuts. So we usually have this clamp and this stop block sitting up on the ledge there near the radial arm saw. So I'm going to set up this stop here, and you can take your tape measure and do this while the machine is not running, obviously. And you can pull this out and you can measure off of the blade, and I can put this stop. I'm going to put it around 12 inches, and then I'll use this clamp to hold it. So now I can take my board, push it against the stop and cut it, and I can keep cutting 12-inch pieces. So that's really nice to be able to use this. But let's say I'm going to cut some small pieces. So I'm going to move this stop actually a little closer because this can be a problem sometimes. So say I was cutting around 3-inch long pieces, and I want to control this little board because this is the board I'm going to save, but we do have that 3-inch rule where we don't want our fingers any closer to the 3 inches, and it's going to be way too close. So there's a way to hold this board and control it, because when you cut this little board, there's a chance that board can kind of twist, get bound up in the blade, and go throw it somewhere. So to control it, our scrap end is right behind the radial arm saw, so I'm just going to grab a scrap from there. So just grab any little piece like this, and what I'm going to do is push it against that little piece there, and I'm giving a little bit of a twist. Now I can hold that board as it's being cut. So I'll demonstrate that. So that's how you cut smaller pieces and control it. So any of these small pieces, these scraps that you cut, you can throw it in the trash can or in our bin behind the radial arm saw. So this is radial arm saw safety and radial arm saw operation. Thank you very much for watching.